Starts every Sunday at 8 on Life FM with the best of the best of the best in messages. It's a great menu every Sunday morning.
These are the ages that I call your insurance age. Vitamin C is the most important thing you can do to protect yourself. So get on it. Even if you're not manifesting symptoms, get on it and stay on it. Okay? And for those of you who have teenagers or young children, I started my son very, very young on Super C, and I can tell you I can count on one hand the number of times he's been sick through his childhood and teen years. So when I say it's Super C, it is Super C. It's a great formula.
And by taking Super C22 then, what are some of the things that you'll experience?
Well, the first thing you're going to experience is energy. And along with that comes mental clarity. Less pain, better vital signs like blood pressure starts to go down. You'll see that your cholesterol's improving, your HDL, the good cholesterol, goes up, triglycerides go down, the inflammatory markers in your blood start to go down.
WIOD, Miami, WBGG FM, HD2, Fort Lauderdale, available everywhere with the iHeartRadio app. Now, number one for podcasting, News Radio 610 WIOD, an iHeartRadio station.
From ABC News, I'm Dave Packer. While the numbers of American deaths from coronavirus will almost certainly top 100,000 this week, the racial numbers are undeniably skewed against black and brown communities. As ABC This Week host Martha Raddatz tells us, this is true everywhere from the Deep South to our nation's capital.
In Washington, D.C., African Americans make up sits in jail accused of his murder. John McQuiston reports.
The 9-year-old autistic boy killed in South Florida survived a first murder attempt when bystanders pulled him out of the water. Miami-Dade State Attorney Kathy Fernandez-Runyon says the boy could not speak to tell people his mother had put him in the water. She says 45-year-old Patricia Ripley took the boy somewhere else and drowned him there.
This time, unfortunately, there was no one there to save him.
Ripley faces a murder charge. I'm John McChrystal.
And several people are injured after rolling over a car into a supermarket. A 79-year-old woman drove into the front of a public liquor store in Dade City on Saturday. The woman, an employee, and a customer were injured. An investigation is ongoing. And former U.S. Congressman Alan West is receiving treatment for injuries he suffered in a motorcycle wreck. He was riding a motorcycle alongside another biker on Saturday when the vehicle attempted to make an abrupt lane change, leading to the two bikers colliding on
Going to Walmart.
in Waco, Texas. Both men were brought to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. And medical research
It's been over 2 months. I haven't went to Walmart.
Maybe viable remedies for coronavirus patients. This study will begin this summer at the new location of the Cleveland Clinic, Florida, in Port St. Lucie.
Hope it's not packed or
Plans to
anything.
begin the clinical trial in a few weeks. And discounts, coupons, and BOGOs all but disappeared at grocery stores as prices rose in April by the largest amount since the 70s.
Cruising
Margaret Steinman with St. Petersburg-based Catalina says
through
coupon
Homestead.
redemption picked up in May, and she expects the trend to
Part
continue.
4.
I think as we go into the month of June and the summer, that will continue and actually elevate, because that's one of
Might
the
get
things
some
that
seat
both
covers.
retailers as well as brands are very tuned into.
Steinman says more than 80% of consumers are looking for deals. With Florida's News, I'm Sean Fanning.
Miami Lakeside Mall has huge Memorial Day savings on one buy from home at MiamiLakesideMall.com.
We'll be right back with more of Prosper with Keith Singh.
Do you ever wonder if the financial strategies you are currently using are actually underperforming or inefficient? Or perhaps you're unaware
US
of the
1
methods
and
to
Lucy
increase the
Street.
financial security for your future. With a certified financial planner to assist you with the implementation of a predictable income, investment, and succession plan, or you simply want to discuss your financial concerns with an experienced advisor and licensed Florida attorney who specializes in serving the needs of clients in or nearing retirement, you should call Keith Singer
Waffle
at
House.
1-866-WEALTHY. That's 1-866-WEALTHY. Or go to www.singerwealth.com. Call Keith Singer at 1-866-WEALTHY. That's 1-866-WEALTHY.
If you want to be wealthy or stay wealthy, call 866-WEALTHY.
The following program is a paid advertisement. The opinions expressed by the host, guests, and callers do not represent those of this station or station management.
Our featured guest, Keith Singer, has appeared on CNBC's Closing Bell. He has been quoted as a financial expert in the Wall Street Journal, U.S. News and World Report, Business Week, Money Magazine, Financial Advisor Magazine, Investment Advisor Magazine, and Kiplinger's. Mr. Singer is also an attorney licensed to practice in Florida and certified as a financial planner by the Board of Financial Planning. He has been helping clients make smart financial choices for the past 20 years through his South Florida base.
Promises that you may live long on the earth. Well, the promise is actually that things may go well with you and that you may live long on the earth. And I don't mean this wrong, but who wants to live long if things aren't going well? So that's a bigger promise to me, that things may go well with you, all right? So we're going to look at these three phases and how we relate to sons and daughters, all right? So number one phase, this is the word to try to help you remember, is training. This refers to childhood, the childhood phase, training. Now, we stopped at verse 4. We read verses 1 through 3 of Ephesians 6. Look at verse 4. And you fathers, do not provoke your children to wrath, but bring them up in the training and admonition of the Lord. Training.
Son needs barbecue.
Think about this scripture that all of you know, Proverbs 22:6. Train up a child. You train children.
Tesla
Train
charging
up a child
stations.
in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. Now, we're going to talk about training, and so I'm going to talk about biblical training, and I don't have time to devote, I could devote an entire message to each of these 3 points, okay? So I'm going to talk a little about biblical training, and we're going to talk a little bit about spanking, because the Bible talks about spanking. And I know that there are books against spanking. We had some friends of ours years ago. The wife said to my wife, to Debbie, she'd read some book, and she said, "We've stopped spanking in our home." And just a few weeks later, Debbie talked to her again. She said, "We started spanking again." Because this is the best book on raising children. Here, let me read you a scripture. I'm going to read it out of the Message because I just like the way that this translates this. Proverbs 23, 13, and 14. Don't be afraid to correct your young ones. A spanking won't kill them. A good spanking, in fact, might save them from something worse than death. A good spanking might save them from something, and watch this, worse than death. What would be worse than death? So let me show you what it says in the New King James. It says, and deliver his soul from hell. So see, if I have a choice, whether to listen to the experts out there that don't know God, or listen to God, and it says that spanking could deliver my child's soul from hell, that's pretty important. Matter of fact, again, the Bible is strong on this point, and again, we try to dilute it. And let me just clarify, when I talk about spanking, obviously I'm not talking about abuse or anger or anything like that. And there's a whole message that I did years ago on this, so you can listen to that if you want to reference it. But we think the Bible says, spare the rod, spoil the child. The Bible does not say that. It makes it much stronger. And see, because we think, I wouldn't mind spoiling the child a little bit. Does it say if you spare the rod, you spoil the child? Here's what it actually says, Proverbs 13:24. He who spares his rod hates his son, but he who loves him disciplines him promptly. So let me give you three thoughts about discipline that might help you if you're in this phase of life. One is be clear. Be clear in your communication. I remember one time I walked out in the backyard. James, my son, was throwing rocks in the swimming pool. I said to him, James, do not throw any rocks in the swimming pool. He looked at me, went over, grabbed his brother's bicycle, and threw it in the swimming pool. So I had to be clear. Don't throw anything in the pool. If you throw anything in the pool, including other people, I'm going to spank you. I had to be very clear with them, right? So one is be clear. The other thing is be convincing. Pray in faith, not fear.
The success of our Christian journey is directly connected to how closely we walk with God. Pastor Greg Laurie helps us understand what the Bible teaches about walking with God. This week on A New Beginning, tune in for important insight to help you maximize your life of faith. That's this week on A New Beginning with Pastor Greg Laurie.
A New Beginning, weekday mornings at 8 here on your live and local Christian radio station, 90.9 Life FM.
This is Life FM at 90.9. Excellent Bible teaching and modern
Love to help make your life better, help you make smart choices about your money. Call us at 866-WEALTHY. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back after these messages. This is Keith Singer of Singer Wealth Management. During this time of high volatility and uncertainty, it's critical that you get the right advice and implement the correct strategies to protect your money, as well as position it correctly to take advantage of the eventual recovery. On top of that, you must now be able to quickly analyze the new stimulus packages passed by Congress and maximize potential benefits of the new laws. In order to assist our clients navigate these complicated provisions, we've hired a full-time CPA to assist our clients. Additionally, if you have not yet filed your tax returns, our in-house CPA can advise you and prepare your returns for as low as $49 for new clients. So if you feel like it may be beneficial for you to get better advice regarding your financial planning, or you'd like help maximizing the benefits of the new stimulus package, or you'd like your tax returns prepared for as low as $49, call us right away at 866-WEALTHY. That's 866-WEALTHY.
Hi, this is Larry King, and you're listening to Prosper with Keith Singer.
Okay, we're back. This is Keith Singer, Singer Wealth Management. Now, some of you may know we have several advisors, 3 of which, including myself, are attorneys in the state of Florida. So naturally, we pretty much review everyone's estate plan whenever we meet with a new prospective client and with our current clients. As complimentary service, we always offer a complimentary review of their estate plan, of their will, and we make sure that whatever they're trying to accomplish, their planning is consistent to achieve that goal. Now, most people we meet with at least have a will. Now, a lot of times it's a will from another state, or it's an old will, and they're not sure if they need a new will or not, or they have an old trust, and they're not sure if it's still current, the current laws, and with consistent with what they're trying to accomplish. So, a lot of people actually, even if you don't have a will, in Florida, the state actually gives you an estate plan through a process called intestacy. So if you die without a will, you're dying what's called an intestate. And that means that it doesn't just go to the state if you die without a will. Basically, in Florida, everything goes to your spouse if you have no will. And then if you don't have a spouse, everything goes to your kids equally. And if you don't have kids, everything goes to your parents. If you don't have parents, then everything goes to your siblings and then their kids. So if that's not what you want, then you definitely should make a will. But you have to make sure you execute it correctly. It's funny, one of my first cases as a new lawyer, back in like 1993, I think, I had a client who had a will. Her dad had a will, and she had a tumultuous relationship with her dad, and they always would get in a fight, and he would disinherit her sometimes, and he'd put her back in, they'd make up, and so they happened to be in a fight, and he passed away. And at that time, the person who died, her dad, his brother, his half-brother, came over to his house and wrote a will up, leaving everything to the half-brother. And they videotaped it. And so her dad said, I'm leaving everything to my half-brother, this is on the video, and I'm disinheriting my daughter because I'm mad at her. And so the client asked me if we could contest it. So I took the case, and one of the things you do if you want to contest the will is you want to see if it was executed correctly. So in Florida, you need the person who signs the will has to sign it in the presence of 2 witnesses, and the 2 witnesses have to sign also together in the presence of each other. And the will has to be witnessed correctly. So we took the depositions of the witnesses, and there's actually 3 witnesses, in addition to it being videotaped. One of the witnesses saw the testator sign, but 2 other witnesses were across the street, they were the neighbors, and the brother walked the will over to those witnesses and asked them to sign it after the fact, which they did. So they testified that they didn't see him sign, and so they weren't valid witnesses, and now this will only had 1 valid witness, and it was not good, and it got thrown out. And now since there was no valid will, and my client was the only heir, and he wasn't married to dad, everything went to her. So if you don't execute the will correctly, then someone can come along and get it thrown out. Now, when people think of an estate plan, it's really 3 things for the most part they're trying to accomplish. One is they want to plan a distribution, right? They want to decide who gets what, okay? Number 2, they want to avoid probate. What's probate? Probate's the process where you transfer title from the person who died to the person who's getting it, or the people, or the entity. So for instance, if your father leaves you a piece of real estate in his will, you can't sell the real estate and sign the deed and show the buyer, look at this will, I'm the owner.
doesn't work that way, because the buyer doesn't know, was that the last will? Was that will executed correctly? Can someone else come and claim that they're the real heir to the property? No one's going to be able to sell that property until the title is changed to the new owner's name. And that's what probate does. When you have a probate, it's expensive, it's time consuming. They have to publish notice to any creditors, to any people that might have a claim to the estate, and then anyone who disputes the will has a chance to try to do that, like I did in the case I just talked about. And so that's the process. And during this time, all the assets are frozen. So until it's over and things are transferred, the beneficiaries can't use the assets or really have any control over them. So most people want to avoid probate. So for a lot of people, that's fine. They just want to make sure it goes to where they want it to go, and they want it to go quickly, avoiding probate. And some people, though, they want to have control of the assets, right? Even after they pass away, they want to have control. They want to make sure that if something happens to their kids, it doesn't go to their kids. If something happens to their kids, it goes to their grandkids. They want to keep the money in their bloodline. Also, other people are concerned, will my kids blow this money? You know, some kids live paycheck to paycheck, and if you give them a big check, they're just going to spend it. All right, so not everybody wants their kids just to get the money outright right away. So by having a trust, you can control who gets the money, when they get the money. You can have a trustee be in charge of the money. Sometimes a lot of people name their kids as co-trustees, and they share responsibility for being in charge of the money, and you don't have to distribute it outright to your kids. Because once you distribute it outright to your kids, the trust no longer controls it. You no longer have control. Right? That's why people want to trust. Because the trust can not only give distribution, but it can help you avoid probate and give you control and make sure that once something happens to your kids, it goes to your grandkids, not a daughter-in-law or a son-in-law. And that's very important to some people. And again, sometimes people have a child that really needs some guidance on how they spend the money. And by having a trust, you can provide that guidance. If you just leave it to them, you know, if they're successful with money, that'll be fine. But if not, all bets are off. And a lot of people don't want their kids to blow their inheritance rather quickly. Unfortunately, that happens all too often. Now, what if you don't care about the control? What if you say, look, I just want my kids to get the money. I wanted to avoid probate. Do you need a trust? Well, in that case, there is a way to have everything go to your heirs without going through probate. But you have to manage each asset individually to do that. So for instance, if you have a retirement account, then you're going to have a beneficiary. And it doesn't matter what your will says, everything's going to go to the beneficiary. So if you have 3 kids and your IRA designates one of your kids as the beneficiary, not the other 2, but your will leaves everything equally to 3 kids, then for that IRA, everything's going to go to that one kid, and then everything else will get split up equally between the 3 kids. So your IRA will avoid probate just because of the fact that it has beneficiaries. What else avoids probate? Annuities are beneficiaries. Life insurance policies are beneficiaries. Those assets don't need a trust to avoid probate. They'll automatically avoid probate. What about brokerage accounts? If you own things jointly, it'll automatically go to your spouse at your desk without probate. Now, if you don't have a spouse, you can have what's called a transfer on death designation. You can do this for your bank accounts and your brokerage accounts, which basically means that at your death, it'll go to the beneficiaries that you designate. All they're going to need to show is a death certificate. This also will avoid probate. So for most people, that's most of their assets except to what? Well, their house. Most people own a house. So how do you make sure that your house avoids probate? What you don't want to do is put your kid's name on the house, right, while you're alive. Bad idea for several reasons. Number one, once you do that, you can no longer mortgage it or sell it without their permission, okay? You don't want them to have that over your head. Number two, let's say you bought your house, and it's gone up a lot since you bought it. I had a client who came to me and said, I put my name on my mom's house, and she passed away, and now I don't have to go through probate, and I didn't need a trust. I said, yeah, well, how much did your mom pay for the house? He said, $100,000. I said, well, what's it worth now? He said, we're selling it for $300,000. He said, well, you're going to have to pay taxes on the gains now. If you would put it in a trust, or if you would inherit it some other way, and not put your name on it while she was alive, you wouldn't have to pay taxes because you would have got what's called a step-up in basis. Okay, so in order to avoid probate, now the person has to pay $60,000 in taxes, that he wouldn't have had to pay otherwise, all because he didn't plan correctly. So it's really critical that you plan correctly. All right. So what you can do in Florida is called a lady birth deed. You can make a quitclaim deed from yourself to yourself, but providing beneficiaries. What's nice about this is, at your death, it'll go to the beneficiaries. All they're going to need to do is go to the clerk's office with a death certificate. They'll be the new owner. But it's not irrevocable. You can change your mind. You don't need the permission to mortgage the house or sell the house, and your kids will get a step-up in basis. So if you really plan correctly, you can avoid probate and make sure everything goes to your kids without a trust at all. And for some people, we say that's fine if you don't really care about control. There's also durable power of attorney. You need that. They've recently changed the law about the form. If you have an old durable power of attorney form, it may not be valid anymore. In the spirit of the current situation, anybody who wants a durable power of attorney, if you need one, what is it for? It's for if you become incapacitated, can your spouse or your kids get access to your finances to help get money to support you? Otherwise, if you become incapacitated, how will anyone access your funds? Right? So a durable power of attorney will provide for that. So if you don't have one, if you want one, give us a call at 866-WEALTHY. We'll be happy to email you a durable power of attorney, or if you want to meet with us, we'll be happy to execute one for you. It's a pretty easy form to send you to someone, but it's something you need to have, because if you don't have it, the alternative is now you have to go get a guardianship through court process, and that takes a long time, and then no one has any access to your funds if you're incapacitated. You can also dictate your wishes if something were to happen to you medically, what kind of care you want, if you want life-sustaining measures taken on you. So this is something that everyone should really have. And then finally, you got to do some tax planning, especially with an IRA. There's a window of opportunity right now to do some conversions, partial conversions of your IRA, and change it to a Roth IRA. Especially if your kids are in a high tax bracket, you can really save a ton of money by having the right guidance each year at the end of the year to determine what's the optimal amount of IRA you want to convert from regular to Roth, especially if you're not in a high tax bracket right now. Who knows what tax brackets are going to be in the future? I suspect they will be higher. In fact, in 2026, they are going up. They're scheduled to go up. So from a math standpoint, it may absolutely make sense to be proactive and do some conversions, partially at least, of your IRA, either for yourself in the future or for your kids. So if you want planning like this, if you want someone to review your estate planning, if you want a durable power of attorney, if you want your trust reviewed, if you want to make sure that your beneficiaries are designated correctly and that your assets are titled correctly and that everything's going to work out exactly the way you want with as minimal tax impact as possible. Like I said, we have 3 attorneys that are advisors, work for Singer Wealth Management full-time. Call us right away at 866-WEALTHY. We can talk on the phone, we can Zoom, we can meet in person with the proper protocols in place. So call us at 866-WEALTHY. My name is Keith Singer. Looking forward to helping give you some valuable advice.
Miami, WBGG FM HD2, Fort Lauderdale. Available everywhere with the iHeartRadio app. Now, number 1 for podcasting. News Radio 610 WIOD, an iHeartRadio station. From ABC News, I'm Dave Packer. As states around the country are reopening, some are seeing a spike in cases. A member of President Trump's coronavirus task force is responding.
Since taking steps to reopen, North Carolina has reported its highest number of COVID-19 cases. Arkansas is seeing flare-ups, and Minnesota is near capacity in its ICUs. Dr. Deborah Birx, coordinator for the White House Coronavirus Task Force, says some of that increase is due to more testing.
In areas where we know are the highest risk, whether it's nursing homes, whether it's areas where people work and sleep and stay together.
She says, though, that as states reopen, the need for people to remain socially distanced, to wash their hands and wear masks is as important as ever. Mark Remillard, ABC News.
Some parts of Illinois are now about to enter phase 3 of the state's reopening plan. This from Governor J.B. Pritzker, who today cautioned Illinoisans about allowing some businesses to open. It's not a license for patrons to abandon the social distancing precautions.
The virus is still out there. The vast majority of people are not immune, and the risks of mass spread that we faced before we ever had a stay-at-home order remain if we don't do something different now than we were doing before the virus arrived.
A manhunt at this hour in Connecticut for a male suspect police say killed a man in the victim's own home. Connecticut State Trooper Christine Joe Timna said this afternoon the suspect began by breaking into a house in Willington, where he said the homeowner against his will before leaving with some of the victim's belongings.
The suspect that we know from Willington
took supplies to include food and the victim's truck.
Connecticut State Police bulletins have identified the suspect as 23-year-old Peter Manfredonia. They say he's armed and dangerous. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu today becoming the country's first sitting prime minister ever to go to trial. You're listening to ABC News.
Crisis? Estrella insurance offices are open to serve you. They've taken all recommended precautions from the CDC to serve the community. You can also call 888-511-7722 or go to estrellainsurance.com.
Broward County slowdown's getting worse. This report is sponsored by Compassion International. Our crash I-95 southbound at Commercial Boulevard now blocking 3 of the left lanes. We have delays going back to Cypress Creek Road. It's easier to change the world than you think. Sponsor a child in extreme poverty with Compassion International, and you will change the world for that child. Just text the word child to the number 83393 to sponsor right now. Your next report is in 30 minutes. I'm Mike Lacomiak, News Radio 610 WIOD.
The high on this Sunday near 80 with some more showers and storms, so the rain will be heavy. Rain again tonight at the low 75 and a wet Memorial Day with showers and thunderstorms likely at a high of 80. With updates around the clock on South Florida's severe weather station on the Weather Channel's Jeff Maher on News Radio 610 WIOD.
Coronavirus closures have pushed the state's unemployment rate to almost 13%. Governor Ron DeSantis has ordered an investigation into the state's $78 million unemployment benefit system, which collapsed under the crush of claims that came in mid-March. Democrats like State Senator Gary Farmer say the investigation should include the current administration's handling of the system.
These are proud Floridians. This is not a narrative of people looking to game the system, to get by. These are people in need, and they're counting on their government. We're supposed to be better than this.
The state says it has paid more than $1.5 million.
First, a quick introduction. Chris Killam is an author and an educator. He's written 14 books. He's conducted research in over 30 countries. Again, he's been on with Oprah and Friends and Dr. Oz. Chris, welcome back to the show.
Thank you so much, Pat. It's always a pleasure to have a great conversation with you.
Now, most of us are super busy these days. We want to stay healthy, but quite frankly, it can be daunting, with all the different supplements out there. Now, Chris, you've traveled all over the world learning about different natural remedies, so you really know which ingredients to look for. So tell me this, besides a good multivitamin and some fish oil, maybe a few other things, go into the 3 super hot nutrients you've been so jazzed about lately.
Well, Pat, the 3 super nutrients, as we like to say, are a green tea extract, a turmeric extract called curcumin, and an extract from red wine called resveratrol. And apropos of what you said about my traveling around the world, I've extensively investigated these in their host countries. So I've been in the green tea plantations of China and India and worked with top researchers of this ingredient in those countries. With turmeric, I've been deeply involved with turmeric researchers in India and seen all of that. And with resveratrol, I've worked with scientists in Europe and also in California and Chile and South Africa, all of which are major red wine producing areas. So I've had the opportunity to investigate these things in the field, meet with the top scientists, and my conclusion is that green tea, curcumin from turmeric root, and resveratrol from red wine are remarkable health-enhancing agents that everybody can benefit from in a very, very substantial way.
Now, Chris, let's talk about these big 3, and it's interesting that they're all found in our diet and all are considered superfoods. The green tea, the curcumin, the resveratrol. Why did you want to combine the 3? There's always a method to your madness, if I can say it that way. You combine these things together because they have a synergistic effect. They make each other work better. You call it a real game changer.
Well, when I look at these, there actually isn't a reason, Pat, to put them all in separate products. They do go very well together. As you said, they're all food derived, so it's kind of like You can make a salad if you choose out of many vegetables. You don't just have to have a bowl of lettuce or a bowl of cucumbers, and that's a little bit simplistic. The fact is that all of these are very, very rich in groups of protective compounds that are both antioxidants, so they actually retard the aging process of the cells in our bodies and protect our organ systems, so they maintain a healthy inflammatory status in the body. And this is really a big breakthrough. I also like the idea that people can get a concentrated supplement of green tea extract, curcumin extract, and resveratrol in one product with truly meaningful amounts of each one, and not have to go out and basically buy a shopping cart full of stuff.
Now, let's dive into the headlines and the research, especially on this green tea, because it's absolutely amazing. I know in Asia they've been using it for thousands of years for healthy aging. But what are you seeing recently in the press? I know you told me the Nutrition Research Journal, in its July 2012 issue, revealed that green tea significantly increased plasma antioxidant activity and whole blood glutathione. Can you recap some of these headlines and tell me why you're such a green tea advocate?
Okay, what you just said about increasing plasma antioxidant activity is really critical. There are many antioxidants that people consume that don't actually wind up in the body in any significant amount. The green tea antioxidants, which we know are among the most highly beneficial antioxidants in the entire world, are very well absorbed. They improve plasma antioxidant activity, that is the blood concentration of antioxidants. So what happens is you get this great concentration of antioxidant substances, which are protective compounds, floating around in the body and protecting the cells of your body, your organs, every part of your body, from premature destruction due to exposure to environmental pollutants and things in the diet. With regard to the whole blood glutathione, when we take in the right antioxidants, and not all antioxidant compounds are the right antioxidants, our bodies produce more of its own super protective compound called glutathione. So you take in the green tea extract, you build the antioxidant activity in your blood, and you also cause your body to produce this enormously beneficial, very well-studied, very powerful protective substance called glutathione. So it is remarkable. This isn't something that most high antioxidant foods or supplement ingredients do, but it does happen with a concentrated, properly made green tea extract.
All right, let's switch gears and talk about this curcumin, which is number 2 on your list. And by the way, these 3 ingredients are all found in the new green tea combo formula. We're going to be offering a free bottle in a few minutes, but talk to me about the curcumin, which is spelled C-U-R-C-U-M-I-N. Now, most people haven't heard of it, but scientists and researchers know it's one of the most powerful superfoods on the planet. It can positively influence our DNA, maintain joint comfort, healthy inflammation, and more. Can you share some of the incredible headlines on curcumin and tell us why you use this patented BCM95 formula of curcumin with 7 times greater absorption?
Okay, well, first of all, I think while people might not know the term curcumin, they may well know turmeric root, which is a yellow spice, and it shows up in curries, and it's part of...
City. Going to Delicious City right now. Old neighborhood, Delicious City. Used to live out here back in 2000, from 1998 to 2004. Delicious City. About to go to family house. Someone's having a birthday. The oldest one in the family's having a birthday. So they said they're gonna make some food over there for them. We'll get a plate right quick. Haven't ate all day. Get some good Cuban food. Modelo right now. This is Modelo right here. Modelo Park right there. When I was on probation, I used to clean this park right here. How to pick up all the trash in this park. Pick sticking. Put in 2,000 hours probation.
Over time, taking green tea extract can help you to have a better fat to lean muscle ratio. So from a weight control standpoint, this is very good news. Additionally, green tea helps to stabilize blood glucose or blood sugar. And unstable blood sugar is one of the contributing factors to increased weight. So by stabilizing blood sugar, you have an effect on weight control and weight management. So it's really quite remarkable stuff. You need enough of it. We've got enough of it in green tea CR. It has to be the right extract. We've got the right extract. But the science is there for healthy weight management.
All right, now, Chris, you say that with Purity's formula, it provides you with about 3 cups worth of green tea in each 2 capsule serving of these cutting-edge liquid soft gels. So you get all of the green tea's concentrated benefits for energy, for heart health, for alertness in just 2 soft gel caps. Plus, you get the curcumin and the resveratrol too. So it's easy. You call it your daily shortcut to better health. Explain this idea of a healthy shortcut.
families out here already.
My CalMax formula. You take my CalMax formula, but not like, well, will I feel better? I have thousands of people writing and say, Dr. Pincus, I can't believe it. 30 minutes after I took the CalMax, the pain in my wrist went away, or I was able to sleep for the first time in years. I mean, this is really amazing.
I want to take a moment here to let you listeners know that if you want to get a free book about calcium and magnesium and try Dr. Pincus's CalMax formula, there's a special toll-free number you can call. It's 1-800-823-9418. Now, CalMax is a unique blend of calcium and magnesium that gets absorbed into your bloodstream so you can replace those vital nutrients that your body burns up when you experience stress. And I want to let you know that Dr. Pincus has arranged a very special introductory offer. It's only available to you listeners. So when you call, be sure to mention this program and you'll get a risk-free trial of CalMax. Again, this is only available to you listeners and only if you call this toll-free number. It's 1-800-823-9418. So if you're feeling the symptoms of stress, the lack of sleep, the low energy, pain and stiffness in your muscles and joints, your body is telling you it's lacking the calcium and magnesium it needs to handle the effects of everyday stress. You know, if you're concerned maybe about bone health or osteoporosis, if you want to improve your heart health, your digestive health, and even reduce or eliminate the effects of stress, I encourage you, try the CalMax formula. All you have to do is pick up the phone and call 1-800-823-9418. And when you do call today, you're also going to get that free book. It's called The User's Guide to Calcium and Magnesium. And folks, this book is packed with vital information about why your calcium needs change with age.
Oh yeah, and Chris, listen, I'd like to do something very special for the listeners today, so I'm going to give away an extra free bottle of my Calmax formula to the first 100 callers.
Well, thank you for doing that, Dr. Pincus. I really appreciate it. Folks, this just keeps getting better and better. So you get to try Calmax absolutely risk-free, and if you're one of the first 100 callers, you're going to get an extra free bottle, plus you're going to get that free book. So the number to call is 1-800-823-94.
I lace the boots up, it's straight to the door.
The number to call is